So if you talk to this guy, it gives you a cool look at the structure. Hey now, oops. What on earth are you doing? Just butt out, jeez. Huh? You come to see it too? There was a bombing on top. If this pillar should come down, everyone in the slums is dust. I wonder why he said that. Well, there's no point in worrying about that. Yeah, no point in worrying about that. Hey, look, it's huge, ain't it? The foreshadowing. I don't know what he was doing. Going to the bathroom, I guess? I don't know. Yeah, so this is just a clever use of cutscene. Hey, this is a strange and wonderful place. This is my place, but you can come here when you want. Bye, bro. So they use that cutscene later during the mission. So since they already had that cutscene coded out and stuff, they repurposed it into that little cutscene. It's just kind of a clever use of using what you already have. So, I guess we can talk about Suna Skip now, because it's relevant. So, back in the early days, I think a lot of us wondered if there was some way you could get past these guards. Theoretically, getting past these guards would just bonk you into a giant wall, because on the other side of this, there's a giant metal wall that opens up and Tifa comes through it later when you're in the playground. Yeah, it was always like a theoretical, I wonder if you can get past these guys, because you can kind of see there's a big gap here. I don't know why they placed the guards like this, because you can kind of see it, they look off-center. But because this guy's so off-center, we kind of always wondered what would happen if you actually got past that guy. And then, fast forward a bajillion years later, Final Fantasy VII speedrunning becomes a thing. And a mod creator known as Suna Mix was playing around with this field and found out that you can indeed get past this guard. By using subpixels, and subpixels weren't something that we really understood for the longest time, so even though we knew it was theoretically possible, we didn't know how in the world we could possibly actually get past consistently. But a little later on, after speedrunning became more popular, we started to understand subpixels and how to make them work, and without getting into like super speedrun tech, because we're not really talking too much about the speedrun for this. Subpixels are basically just a fraction of a pixel. So like when I move Cloud by tapping the button once, he moves 1 pixel. That's kind of the smallest increment I can move Cloud, is 1 pixel. But the game doesn't just keep track of 1 pixel, it keeps track of subpixels as well. So different things like bonking into things, or diagonal movement, or where you enter the screen, can all affect your subpixel. We can't affect our subpixel by just pressing a button. We can only move Cloud 1 pixel. But there's certain things we can do to change our subpixel location. And in order to get past this guard, you don't just need to be on the right pixel, but you also need to be on the right subpixel. So anyways, long story short, we figured out a setup. We figured out multiple setups for it. And if you skip this guard, you get placed in the playground with just Cloud, which you're not supposed to be able to do. But if you walk to Wall Market, the game updates to, because you're entering Wall Market, it's like, okay, you're at Wall Market, let's do Wall Market stuff. So it places Aerith in your party and just continues the game on like normal. Because the way this game works with its story is it doesn't have many flags. Normally in like more modern RPGs, everything's a flag. So whenever you do a mission, it activates a flag that says you've done this mission. So if you try to skip something, a lot of times newer RPGs will know, like, hey, you didn't do that yet. You know, you didn't activate this flag yet. But in this game, there's actually only one number that determines where you are in the game. So as long as you can get to a point in the code where it updates that number, you can successfully trick the game into thinking you're in that part. So for example, let's say right now I'm in the number's like 67. The number's called game moment. So let's say my game moment is 67. So right now, it thinks we're right before the 7th heaven scene. And once we do the 7th heaven scene, maybe it updates our game moment to 68. And then now it knows when I walk into the inn not to play the 7th heaven scene because my game moment is 68. And the code says just play that if you're before 68, right? So when you walk into Wall Market, the first thing the game does, and I'm not 100% sure about this where it actually does it, but just for the sake of example, when you walk into Wall Market, the game says, okay, now update the game moment to 120, and then do all the stuff that you're supposed to do at game moment 120. So even though we were at 67 instead of 119, the game updates us all the way up to 120, and then the game continues as normal. And that's how a lot of the skips in this game works, is as long as you can get the game to update that game moment, everything else will play out the way it's supposed to play out. The only exception being if you have characters in your party you're not supposed to have, sometimes you can soft lock because the characters don't know what to do. But other than that, usually skips work if you can accomplish changing the game moment. And this is why a full Midgar skip has never been found. We have tried for many, many years to find a way to actually just skip from here to just leaving Midgar. But the issue is that when the scene that plays that allows you to leave Midgar is a certain game moment, and that certain game moment is only given to you when you defeat Motorball and you're up on top of the highway before you come down. So we have not found a way to access that scene other than beating Motorball, and the only way to beat Motorball is to do the minigame with the bike. And so we have not found any way at all to change our game moment to get out of Midgar. So the best we can do is skip parts of Midgar, but the kind of the holy grail, other than calm skip, is to find a way to actually just leave Midgar right now. But because of the game moment problem, it'll probably never be found. So anyways, one other thing I want to talk about that's probably the most interesting out of everything is that when this game released, as you know, Aerith's name was Aerith. But when they translated it to English, for whatever reason, they thought Aerith was not a name that made sense in English or translated well. So they changed her name to Aerith. After that, they realized their mistake, and everything after this, Aerith's name is Aerith. And most people still call her Aerith. I tend to go back and forth because I used to call her Aerith when I was younger because this is all I knew was the game and its translation. I didn't know till later that everyone called her Aerith. So I tend to go back and forth in my head between Aerith and Aerith. But really, one really interesting thing is that Aerith's default name in the code is actually still Aerith. It doesn't change to Aerith until you get to the screen where you name her, and then they changed it to display Aerith. So if you do this skip and walk into Wall Market, you never get to name Aerith. That screen never comes up and you never name her. So she gets her default name in the code, which is Aerith. So for all the people out there that were like so mad back in the day that her name was Aerith and wanted her name to be Aerith and used to argue with their friends like, no, her name's Aerith, not Aerith. Just know that her actual default name is Aerith, even in the NA version. And if you do this skip, her name will be Aerith. So you can show that off to your friends and be like, look, her name's actually Aerith. So I always thought that was cool. And when that was found, it was like, it was such a cool thing for the community because all the people that always said her name was Aerith had like this proof now, like, yes, it's Aerith. Yeah, if we go by those rules, then Cloud's real name is Exoldi. So, because that's his default. So, funny thing about this scene too. There's a lot of scenes like this, but if you leave and come back, it skips Barrett's dialogue here. You're supposed to wait a bit and then Barrett lets you in, but if you run out and run back in, he just lets you in right away. So that's why when you watch a speedrun, they run backwards here. Also, this always confused me. I don't know what this kid is doing. There's a news update. They say there was a terrorist explosion up above, and that this time it was a Mako reactor. You know what this means? You see, I keep on top of these things, and if you ask me, if you knock out Midgar's power, then all of its computers and signals are going to be knocked out too. Financially, there must have been about 1 billion gil worth of damage. Oh my god, 1 billion gil. And that ain't all. A lot of innocent people got killed too. The explosion had been in the middle of the night. That would have been one thing. At least the people could have gone in their sleep. Explosions, explosions! Oh man, Avalanche is so cool! Okay, go on ahead. Thanks. Yeah, and then you have idiots like me that used to call Ares back in the day because you really liked Greek mythology, and Aerith looked like Ares, so you just said Ares all the time. And then you went to school and you were like, hey guys, isn't Ares cool? And then you got punched in the face, and then you realized that it's Aerith and not Ares. Papa! Yeah, you can do all that stuff after this scene, so. Marlene, aren't you going to say something to Cloud? Well, come on, Cloud. Looks like everything went well. Did you fight with Barrett? Nope. We're going for that Tifa date. You've grown up. When you were little, you used to get into fights at the drop of a hat. I'm so glad everyone's safe. Alright, most important part of the game right here. Beer Texas. Never forget. The weirdest sign. The weirdest sign in any video game. I don't know why it says Beer Texas, but it's my favorite thing. And most people never knew that was there, so you're welcome. What else? There's not much else in here. It says Draft Beer Texas, but Draft is kind of hard to read. And I like Beer Texas better. And yeah, it's weird that it says Texas too, because like, this world is America confirmed? Like what? Why does it say Texas? Papa, welcome home. You alright, Barrett? Great! Get in here, fools. We're starting the meeting. The northern crater is Canada. Get some more Tifa points here. How about something to drink? Just a minute, I'll make one for you. What happens if all the date points are equal or max? So I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure if all the date points are equal, which is impossible, but if all the date points are equal, it'll do Aerith date, Tifa date, Yuffie date, and then Barrett date in that order. So like, if they're all equal, it'll do Aerith. If they're all equal but Aerith is low, then it'll do Tifa. If they're all equal but Aerith and Tifa are low, it'll do Yuffie, and then Barrett last. So that's like the order. But it's actually impossible to get them all equal. Well, I think it's impossible. I guess with the glitch, maybe you could do it. But Barrett and Yuffie's is much lower. So you need to be like really mean to Aerith and Tifa and be really nice to Barrett to get Barrett date. And same with Yuffie. But there's a glitch to get infinite points with Yuffie and Barrett. So I guess technically you could like do a perfect balance between Aerith and Tifa, and then do the glitch with Yuffie and Barrett and get them all to like the exact right number. But if you did that, you'd just get the Aerith date. You know, I'm relieved you made it back here safely. What's with you all of a sudden? That wasn't even a tough job. I guess not. You were in Soldier. Make sure you get your pay from Barrett. Don't worry, once I get that money, I'm out of here. Cloud, are you feeling alright? Yeah, why? No reason, you just look a little tired, I guess. Maybe I should drink some Mountain Dew. This looks like Mountain Dew. Or Sprite. Yeah, if you do the Barrett glitch too much, it can roll over the number to 0, and then you don't get the Barrett date, so you have to be careful. Yo, Cloud, there's something I want to ask you. Was there anyone from Soldier fighting us today? None, I'm positive. You sound pretty sure. If there was anyone from Soldier, you wouldn't be standing here now. Don't go thinking you're so bad just because you were in Soldier. Well timed. Yeah, you're strong. Probably all them guys in Soldier are. But don't forget that your skinny butt's working for Avalanche now. Don't get no ideas about hanging on to Shinra. Staying with Shinra? You asked me a question and I answered it, that's all. I'm going upstairs. I want to talk about my money. Give me my money. Wait, Cloud. Tifa, let him go. Looks like he still misses the Shinra. Shut up. I don't care about either Shinra or Soldier. You made me mad. I'm going to my room. But don't get me wrong. I don't care about Avalanche or the planet for that matter. Yeet. So, really small detail here. Today, the #1 reactor was bombed. The terrorist group Avalanche has claimed responsibility for the bombing. It is expected that Avalanche will continue its reign of terror. But citizens of Midgar, there is no need to fear. I have immediately mobilized Soldier to protect our citizenry against this senseless violence. Thank you and good night. Also, Machine Gun Barrett. If you stayed on here long enough, he does that. No, talk to Jesse. How am I not talking to Jesse here? There we go. Money. Oh my, it must have been a lot for it. Sure, well, what the heck, it's a verbal agreement. Now let me figure this out. Oh, stop it, Cloud, did you hear me? Okay, I think I think you have to talk to her before you talk to Barrett. So, Jesse says something there about the bomb and it being a bigger explosion than it was supposed to be. It's really minute, but it's kind of implied that the bomb didn't actually blow up the reactor, but Shinra did it. And they actually play on that a lot more in the remake. But it's such a small detail. It's really cool that they picked up on that and used it in the remake. But yeah, there's like this little tiny... I don't know if it's exactly like canon or not, but it's implied that potentially we only blew up the small bit of the reactor and then Shinra blew up the rest to frame us. Because they would rather Midgar hate us than have one of their reactors. Listen, Cloud, I'm asking you, please join us. Sorry, Tifa. The planet is dying. Slowly but surely it's dying. Someone has to do something. Yeah, they don't talk about it too much because Barrett's kind of like, the next explosion's going to be even bigger. So it seems like they were totally okay killing people. But in reality, like, it's supposed to be implied that Avalanche isn't trying to kill people. They're trying to just stop Shinra. But they don't do a really great job of displaying that. Like, it kind of sounds like at the beginning here that now we're just killing people. Like, we're like, we don't care how many people we kill. We just want to stop Shinra. But I don't think you're really supposed to feel that way. So let Barrett and his buddies do something about it. It's got nothing to do with me. So, you're really leaving? You're just going to walk out, right out, ignoring your childhood friend? What? You forgot the promise, too. Promise? So you did forget. Remember, Cloud? It was 7 years ago. Come on, Cloud. You don't say promise question mark. That gives it away that you forgot. Yeah, Barrett is definitely in that realm of, like, acceptable losses. And in fact, later he has an argument with Kate Sith that I really want to talk about when we get to it, because it's one of my favorite conversations in the game. He has an argument with Kate Sith where he specifically says, like, acceptable losses. Because Kate Sith is like, what about all those people you killed during the bombing? And he just straight up says, like, acceptable losses. So I think Barrett definitely has that kind of mindset going into all this. And he continues to have that mindset until, like, the end of the game. Look, the well. Do you remember? Yeah, back then. I thought you would never come, and I was getting a little cold. Time to see Child Cloud in all of his glory. Look at him. He looks so mad. Why does he look so mad? Oh my god. And then Tifa has like one eyeball. The soldier experiments really did a number on Cloud. Oh, man. You said you wanted to talk to me about something? He looks so nice when he looks up, but when he looks down, he looks so angry. Come this spring, I'm leaving this town for Midgar. All boys are leaving our town. But I'm different from all of them. I'm not just going to find a job. I want to join Soldier. I'm going to be the best there is, just like Sephiroth. Sephiroth, the great Sephiroth.
I'm Sephiroth.
Isn't it hard to join Soldier? I probably won't be able to come back to this town for a while. Huh? Will you be in the newspapers if you do well? I'll try. Hey, why don't we make a promise? If you get really famous and I'm ever in a bind, you come save me, right?
I'm Sephiroth.
What? Whenever I'm in trouble, my hero will come and rescue me. I want to at least experience that once. What? I love how I just keep saying what. Come on, promise me. What? What? I love that so much of this scene is used later. Not just the promise, but even the part where she says, you'll be in the newspapers if you do well, right? She actually talks about that later. Alright, I promise. Cloud is Lil Jon confirmed. What? Thank you, Marsh, for the 27 months. Thanks so much for being a great part of our community for so long, Marsh. I appreciate you. You remember now, don't you? Our promise? I'm not a hero and I'm not famous. I can't keep the promise. Headlines, 15-year-old emo tried his best. I love you guys. You make me laugh so much. But you got your childhood dream, didn't you? You joined Soldier. So come on. You've got to keep your promise. Wait, it's that big-time soldier. Promise is a promise. Here. What? So one thing I always found, like, really interesting, is that Barrett gives you 1,500 gil here, which you're supposed to use just to go buy some starting equipment and stuff. Funnily enough, this 1,500 gil was actually mega important for the speedrun for a long time. In fact, there was a time where we thought skipping this scene might be worth it, because it's a really long scene. So yeah, I should explain that when I talked about Suna Skip, but basically you can do Suna Skip before this scene or after this scene. And before this scene makes the most sense. You miss out on the 1,500 gil, but this scene is like 7 minutes long, so it's totally worth skipping for the speedrun. But the issue is that at the end of this scene, you get use of your materia, Barrett shows you, or you do the Materia tutorial with Barrett, or you choose not to do the tutorial. But after that dialogue box, it gives you the ability to use Materia. And unfortunately, the game never updates that again for the rest of the game. So if you don't get the Materia menu here, you never get it. And you would just have to play the entire game without using Materia. So it's super important that you actually go through the scene just to get the Materia menu. And there were some speedrun routes that actually didn't do that. The current New Game Plus route doesn't get the Materia. Or no, it does. New Game Plus does. There was an 80% route that didn't get it for the longest time, but I think it gets it now too. But yeah, we went back and forth between, is it worth saving the 7 minutes of not doing this cutscene but never getting Materia, or doing this cutscene and then using Materia to speed up stuff. So it's wild. Of course, for the full game runs, you always get Materia. It'd be ridiculous to think that you would save any, 7 minutes would be worth not getting Materia for a whole game run. But for the PC run, that's only like 2 hours long, there was a lot of routes where you didn't do this scene. But it was always funny to me that the 1500 gil is actually also really important. Mostly for buying grenades, which are brutally broken in the beginning of the game. So this 1500 gil actually means a lot. What? Then you got the next mission lined up? I'll do it for 3,000. What? It's okay, it's okay. Psst, psst. We're really hurting for help, right? That's money for Marlene's schooling. 2,000. Thanks, Cloud. I always found it funny that he says 2,000 and Tifa doesn't even let Cloud decide if that's enough. She just says thanks. Yeah, he never agrees to 2,000. I mean, that's quite a cut. Like if you would have said 2,500, then I would understand. If he had said 2,500, I understand, but 2,000 is quite the huge cut. Fine, we'll think of the 14 months. Yeah, have a great weekend. Have a great week next week, too. I will be gone, so. Good morning, Cloud. Did you sleep well? Barrett's snoring kept me up. Next to you, who wouldn't? I don't know what you mean. I'm going this time. How's it going, you sense? Our target's the Sector 5 reactor. Head for the station first. I'll fill you in on the train. Alright, now for the hardest speedrun trick of all time. I got something I want to ask you. I don't really know how to use Materia. I'll give you that Materia you found. Just teach me how to use it. Alright, we did it. So many speedruns die to accidentally reading the Materia tutorial. So this is what makes them guys and soldiers so great, huh? Okay, I'll ask Jesse again later, but you're in charge of the Materia. Cloud, I got a message from the weapons shop man upstairs. He has something he wants to give you, don't forget. Marlene, you watch the store while we're gone. Alright, good luck. So, yeah, a couple things we need to talk about. So first of all, I forgot to mention before with Suniskip as well, I have a video, I forget the name of it, but you can find it on my channel where I do Suniskip and I just mess around with Aerith. I think it's called Aerith elevator glitch, but I kind of run around with the Suniskip. So if you're more interested in Suniskip, you can check that video out. And all these speedrun tricks that I'm talking about, you can check out any of my speedruns and also my speedrun tutorial, which is a bit out of date now, but you can check that out for more info on the speedrun stuff if you're interested in that. So yeah, one thing we have to talk about is they set Marlene in charge of the bar, and she's 3 at this time. Or 4, yeah, a bit weird. There's a weirder conversation with Marlene later during the Barrett date. But yeah, this one's pretty weird. Never quite understood that. And not only that, but this is the slums with the worst people. coming in and out. And they're just like, yeah, Marlene's got it. It's cool that they show, like, how tough Marlene is, because she grew up in the slums, like, grew up as Barrett as her dad, like, she is probably pretty tough, and it's cool that they kind of give you that there. But at the same time, it's like, okay, they really gotta leave, like, Tifa's not gonna stay back with her. Or anyone, you know, like, because everyone goes on this mission. Jesse, Biggs, Wedge, Tifa, me, and Barrett, like, she is alone. Another slow day. If this keeps up, this store's going under. Can't sell any really good medicine in a slum like this. Oh, look at this. This doesn't happen every day. You a customer? Go CJ. Think of the tier 2, 3 years. Full 3 years. Oh man. Thank you so much. Saw a message. When I was a kid, I looked for a way for the like 30 minutes to get upstairs in 7th Heaven because of Tifa's wording about a weapon shop man upstairs. Yeah. She means upstairs in the weapon shop, but instead she says weapon shop upstairs, which makes you think it's like upstairs from the inn. Or from the bar. Hey, wait a minute, you can't just walk out of here without buying something. Might be unhealthy for you, if you know what I mean. So, it's time to talk about grenades. Grenades are unbelievably broken in this game. For the first, like, pretty much until you get to Junon, they're broken. And they're still, honestly, useful in Junon. But the entirety of Midgar, grenades are broken. I don't, and I mean broken. I think we throw around the word broken a lot. Especially when we talk about RPGs nowadays. I think that sometimes it's easy for us to just see something that's strong and just call it broken. But the real definition of broken is supposed to mean something that's just like completely ruins the game. Like if you do it, you know, it's more than just strong. It's straight up OP, like overpowered, shouldn't be anywhere near this strong. Grenades are broken. Just completely nonsense. I don't know why they made them so strong. So, I think they wanted throwable items to be strong because you have to buy them and there's a limited amount, and they wanted them to feel useful, because if grenades just did the same amount of damage as a regular attack, there'd be no reason to use them. So they made them stronger, but I think what they failed to realize is that they just made them way too cheap. They're only 80 gil. You can buy an insane amount. If you could only buy a few, and you had to not buy armor, and instead you could only buy a couple grenades, then it'd be worth it. Or then, it'd be more balanced. And by the time you could buy a ton of grenades, they'd be useless. But Barrett gives you 1500 gil, and grenades are only 80. I was able to buy a fire materia and 3 iron bangles, and I can still afford 12 grenades. And grenades do limit damage. They do as much damage as a limit. And for the speedrun's sake, it's also a super fast animation, which is why it's really great for the speedrun. But even challenge runs, or just playing the game casually, they're basically free limits that you can just throw out. And they also do, I forget exactly what element they do, but it's an element that's harder to defend against than like a regular attack. It also counts as ranged, so if they're in back row, it still does max damage. So, and they also never miss. So yeah, they're stupid. And honestly, if I could change one thing about Midgar, it'd probably be make grenades more expensive, so it's not so free. Oh yeah, we gotta talk to the kid. Hold on. Kid has the best dialogue. How am I talking to the store owner? Yeah, I want to say it's non-elemental. We should talk about elements at some point. You dried up old geese? You tired? Why don't you rest up on the 3rd floor of my house? There's just one condition. You gotta give me some cash. Oh man, go ahead and help yourself to the room. Yeah, the PC text is better. So, yeah, we should talk about elements for a second, and Zuloff can probably help me with this because he understands the elements better than me. But they did some weird stuff with the elements in this game. The elements are not like fire, ice, water, lightning, as you would expect. There's like 13 different elements in this game, and half of them are all different physical elements. So there's like your standard poison, fire, water, lightning, fire, or earth, you know, etc. And then there's also shoot, slash, I believe. Non-elemental counts as an element in this game. And then there's also a hidden element. And there's some unused elements as well. Punch is also one, yeah. So, and they're all used in different ways for the damage calculation. Probably the most important thing to know is that non-elemental and no element are two different things. So it's very confusing. Yeah, punch element's great. And they don't use them a ton, but there are certain like specific parts where different elements make different, you know, there's different things that can affect the different elements. Cut, hit, punch, shoot, shout. Yeah, I think that's all the physical ones. Hey, you got one right off. That was Materia. Next, take this treasure chest. So this is like the tutorial room, which is cool because the originals also had tutorial rooms like this. It's cool that they brought it back. Now listen, hidden in these treasure chests are a lot of items. There are box types and bag types, so make sure you don't overlook any. And then these guys are all doing a dance. I'm not hard up enough to take money from guys like you, but I'll rap with you for a while. Why does Cloud talk like this here? He never says anything else in the rest of the game that sounds anything like this. I'm not hard up enough to take money from guys like you, but I'll rap with you for a while. Like, what happened? Dude just had some weird... Cloud's going through an existential crisis. Yeah, it's just a, it's a sign of the times, guys, okay? It's just a sign of the times. Okay, so, there's one other thing we can talk about here. We just equipped an iron bangle, so I guess it's time to talk about the stupidest thing in the game, which is the magic defense bug. So prepare yourself. If you played this game as a kid and you don't know about the magic defense bug, prepare yourself. This is an official trigger warning. You're gonna hate this game forever. I'm sorry, not sorry. This is gonna ruin your whole childhood. Yeah, it's truthfully, it really is. You might want to close your ears so that you never hear it. You don't have to hate your favorite game. BSB, thank you so much for the 2 months. So there's a lot of there's a lot of glitches and bugs in Final Fantasy VII, obviously, but a lot of them are stuff that you kind of have to go out of your way to find. I think a lot of us found stuff like the W item glitch when we were kids. And a lot of us also had the save point glitch happen to us, which is probably the most unfortunate one. But it is very possible to get through this entire game without actually running into any game-breaking bugs or anything. With one very notable exception, and that's the magic defense bug. A lot of us played the game and just didn't realize, didn't know it was a thing, and just blissfully unaware played through the game. But now that we know that this is a thing, it kind of ruins the original game a bit. And luckily they fixed it in the newer releases. Which, like, I don't like when newer releases fix glitches because I feel like glitches are part of the experience. But I'm actually very happy that the Steam version fixed the magic defense bug because I do feel like it actually ruins the game quite a bit. So long story short, magic defense on armor does nothing. Literally nothing. Any armor that says it gives you magic defense does not give you magic defense. It's not a percentage thing, it's not certain armor, it's not like, oh, it gives you magic defense, but it's hidden and does something different. Like, no. Zero. No magic defense is given to you on any armor in the entire game. And that's it. It's just a bug. It's not activated by something. It's every game you've ever played, every save you've ever had. Magic defense does nothing. And you can actually see this in action. If you go to the status screen, you can see I have 19 magic defense and 26 defense, right? If I equip the Iron Bangle, I now have an updated defense value of 28, but my magic defense is still 19. So you can see it happen right before your eyes. The defense number gets updated, the magic defense number does not. So, luckily, you know, this game is easier, and you won't run into too many issues with the magic defense bug that, like, makes the game unplayable or anything. But there are a couple pieces of armor in the game that specifically give you magic defense, and they're just useless. Unfortunately. Oh, we should go take up this kid's offer to sleep in his bed. That's great. It's nap time. Whoo! So, let's see if I remember correctly. Luck governs crit chance. And there's also a mechanic called a lucky dodge, I believe. You can get a dodge based on your luck stat, I think. And I think that is it. Luck does not affect steal chance in this game, unfortunately. I believe it is only those two things. Oh, and I think there's a mechanic called Lucky Hit as well, which is a bit less used. Yeah, I think that's it. Lucky Hit, Lucky Evade, and Critical Hit, I believe, are the only three things affected by luck. So in terms of RPGs, luck is, it's good, but not useful, if that makes sense, because there's not much that actually affects luck until you get to, like, source farming. It's there, but it's so... the luck values that your characters have are so minute that it doesn't make much of a difference until you make it make a difference. Looks like this ain't no private car. Hoodlums again! You say something? I said, you say something? It's a very iconic line. I think it actually applies to everything, because magic can miss in this game. So I think you could lucky hit a magic spell, I'm not sure. I saw a message up here I wanted to read. Hey, thanks for being here, BSB. I appreciate it. How's it going, Jim Bob? As in-depth as we can possibly go. Okay, General said lucky hits are just physical. That makes sense. Yo, look at that! It got empty all of a sudden. What's going on? It's empty because of guys like you. Yipes. You've seen the news, right? Avalanche says there'll be more bombings. Only devoted employees like me would go to Midgar on a day like today. You working for Shinra? That's one of my favorite lines. I won't give in to violence. @ money sign, hashtag, percentage sign. You lucky, caret, money sign, hashtag, caret, dollar sign, period. That's how you read that, right? So, what are we gonna do now? The heck you so calm about? You busted up my rhythm. Excuse me, streamer. That is a pound, not a hashtag. Man, someone grew up in the 2000s. It's okay, I did too. Seems like they're just finished connecting the cars. We're finally leaving. Let's go on Snapper. That's a tic-tac-toe board. So what's our next target? Ah, listen to Mr. Serious about his work. Alright, I'll tell you. Jesse's probably already told you, but there's a security checkpoint at the top plate. It's an ID scan system checking all the trains, which Shinra is very proud of. We can't use our fake IDs anymore. Good morning and welcome to Midgar Lines. Arrival time at Sector 4 Station will 11:45. Wait. I never noticed that was I never noticed this. I never noticed that typo. I mean, it's not really even a typo. But they just don't say will be. It just says will 11:45. I never noticed that. Learned something new. Every time I play this game, I learn something new. That's the new thing for this playthrough. That means we've got only 3 more minutes to the ID checkpoint. Alright, in 3 minutes, we're jumping off this train. Got it? Get out of here with your pound sign snipes. This is an American playthrough. Thank you. Cloud, come over here. Let's look at the railway map monitor. It looks like you've seen this already. It's alright. Come a little closer. I don't know why she makes a fighting stance there. She's like, come a little closer. I'm punching in the face. That's odd. The ID checkpoint was supposed to be further down. Type A security alert. Unidentified passengers confirmed. A search of all cars to be conducted. Repeat. Type A security alert. Unidentified passengers confirmed. A search of all cars to be conducted. What's happening? So I should talk about this before the timer starts. So a lot of people like to ask what happens if you run out of time here, because most people just played through casually, didn't run out of time. If you run out of time, you actually just get kicked out of the car. And it's actually beneficial to get kicked out early because you end up closer to where you need to go. The further you run down the car, the further you have to run down the tunnel. to get to the destination. So it's kind of funny. Getting booted out of the car is actually quicker. What's going on? We're in trouble. I'll explain later. Hurry, get to the next car. Someone blew it. Let's go. Keep it up. So yeah, if we wait here 15 seconds, we just get kicked out, and then we're actually really close to where we need to go. Car number 1 locked down. Upgraded to level 2 warning. Hurry! They're gonna lock the door, sir. Pow! Just run! Changing to plan 2. Wait, did you say 2 or B? Also, this guy gives you a high potion. You want this? Yeah. What? Don't get used to it, though. Ah, my eyes! Alright, we clear? Not yet. They're starting another check. If we're caught, we're done for. But don't worry. If we move up the train car by car, we should get past it. What happens when we get to the last car? Also, Jessie just punches that one guy. I don't know why. like, there's 2 other people standing there. She just punches that guy and then leaves. This guy steals your gil, but if you talk to him, you can get it back. I don't actually remember how much he steals. I want to say it's like 500 or 300 or something. Maybe it's less. Maybe it's like 100. Also, there's a guy in a swimsuit here. Who'd expect underwear bandits in this day and age? They wiped me out. Someone stole his underwear. So much great dialogue hidden in this game. Alright, we made it. Yo, this way. Let's go. We're gonna dive out of here. It's me, Jesse. How do I look, Cloud? Do I look good in a Shinra uniform? Not now. Just concentrate on our plan. You're right, sorry. I like Biggs' mustache. Scary, huh? Too late to be saying that now. Why'd you come along anyway? Because. Hey, you two, this ain't no time for that. Yeah, I made up my mind. Watch closely, I'm gonna jump. She's dead. You don't care if I go first? A leader always stays till the end. Don't worry about me, just go. Yo, don't getting your spiky butt hurt. It's only the beginning of the mission. Well, I am jumping out of a train. A moving train. Later, you take care of the rest. Wedge looks like a little child. Yo, horse, think of the 5 months. So what's the reason to run down the train if you end up further from your goal later? Literally no reason. Just for the story, I guess. There's no reason to run down the train. Good, so far everything's going as planned. Better not let your guard down till we get to the Sector 5 reactor. Other than the high potion, yeah, that's pretty much it. Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse got everything ready for us, so move it. Well, the reactor's just down this tunnel. So, there's also the interesting infinite battle down here. We can go check it out. So there's an infinite battle down here. There was always like a myth, another well-known myth, that if you fight enough battles down here, something happens, but it doesn't. It just goes on forever. Nice. Hey, how's it going, Ace? Good to see you, man. Really glad you're here. Oh wait, did I say it backwards? Maybe I did say it backwards. Maybe it is quicker to go down the cars. But like, you have to go less screens if you go down more cars. But it's faster to get booted off the train, I think is the way it goes. I think you're right. I think I was backwards. Fight 65,535 battles and it gives you an accessory that saves Aerith. Also, these guys that cast Silk on you drop spiderwebs really rarely. We just got one. And spiderweb is like one of the best items in the game early on. So it's really nice to get one or two here. For challenge runs, I usually grind multiple spiderwebs here, if I can, if it's a challenge that allows me to. Spiderwebs just cast slow, but a lot of the early enemies are acceptable to slow, or acceptable to slow, able to be slowed. So you don't, but you don't have access to slow till way later. Susceptible is the word I wanted. So yeah, casting slow on them is a big deal, especially if you're playing in wait instead of active. If you ever play this game, you know, for the first time, or play it again after not playing it for a long time, I can't recommend enough changing your config to active. It really makes the game a lot more fun. The game just feels incredibly slow and easy on recommended or wait. Active actually makes your ability to go through the menus fast worth it. Shinra security guards are there. We've got to turn back. And then we don't. You're the Avalanche. You're not Avalanche, you're the Avalanche. What did I say? The translation is good in this game? Maybe I should take it back. I still think the translation in this game is far above the retro games, but yeah, there's still some problems. This guy are sick. Yeah, active does have some benefits, especially with poison. But for the most part, it just makes the game a bit harder and just feel better overall. And you can be absolutely awful at RPGs and still get through the game totally fine on active. So yeah, you can sit there and fight enemies forever. Nothing ever happens, but you can get experience really easily if you want it for some reason. Hey, how's it going, Roxas? Congrats. What mod was it that had those guards make out? That was Nightmare, I believe. The very first mod we ever played. We're actually playing through the Nightmare mod again, off and on, as kind of a little bonus for the Patreon and for Twitch. Just to experience it again because it was a wild ride. So all that wait does is when you're in a menu, it stops the ATB. So if you were to go like this, the ATB would stop and no one would do anything unless they've already queued it. Or this. Pretty much anything like this. Everyone will stop what they're doing. But it also has some other mechanics to it. Basically, like when attacks are going off, everything waits as well. So enemies get a lot less turns on wait in general. because they're always waiting for you to finish doing what you're doing. So, for example, like, if I have all 3 of my ATBs filled, and I tell everyone to attack, on wait, it would kind of let all that happen before the enemy started building up their ATB. But on active, that whole time that my team is doing their things, they're getting their ATB bar. So the enemy will almost always attack directly after all my characters are done doing what they're doing, because that whole time their ATB was building up. So over time, the enemies will get a lot more. I mean, I would say like double the turns they would normally get on wait, if it's a fight that lasts any more than a minute. And then there's some other stuff as well, like Poison does way more damage on active because it ticks more often. On wait, it only ticks like when their ATB is full or something, but active it ticks constantly. Barriers are almost useless on active fastest because by the time you cast it, it's already gone. Whereas on wait, barriers, the barrier bar that shows you how long your barrier has to last stops every time the ATB stops. So it's a lot slower. So yeah, like, Big Guard is stupid strong on recommended and wait, and it's why a lot of people, when they play this game for the first time, they just think Big Guard is the most OP thing ever. But if you play on active, Big Guard's a lot weaker. It's still really good, but it's a lot weaker. This is an in-depth playthrough, Horse Noise, as part of our Fantathon series, marathon. You type !Fantathon in the chat for more info. But basically, we're playing the original game on the original console, but we're doing an in-depth playthrough of it, and describing as much as we can about everything we know about the game. Those light beams are the Shinra security sensors. We can't go any further. This, here's one example of, because they had to manually make all of these text boxes. Here's one example where they screwed up and Barrett's text box goes off the screen to the left. That's one dang tiny hole. You're telling me you squeeze into that to get on the plate? No way. Yo, Cloud, what are we gonna do? But dang, man, that thing gives me the chills. See ya, Snipes. Yeah, the slots feel a lot better on this version. How's it going, Magic?